Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Sacramento First Five Commission for Monday, June 5th, 2023 to order. And Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Yes, sir. Chair Serna.
Here.
Commissioner Sneeringer is absent. Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Here.
Commissioner Gordon is also absent. Commissioner Kasirye.
Here.
Commissioner Kothari is also out. Commissioner Wirtz.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy. Commissioner Hassett.
Here.
Commissioner Turner-Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Evans is also out. Commissioner Gross.
Here.
Commissioner Callejas.
Here.
And Commissioner Moak is also out. That's leaving us with 6 voting members. And we do have quorum.
Very good, thank you. You want to read our statement, please?
This meeting of the First Five Sacramento Commission is cablecast live on Metro 14 Cable, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communication and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Saturday, June 10th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14.
Great, thank you. Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Well, again, I'd like to welcome everyone to this afternoon's First Five Sacramento Commission meeting. It's good to see chambers a little more full than usual, and I look forward to hearing from some folks that have obviously already signed up to speak, and that's a good reminder for those that perhaps joined us here a little late. We certainly do welcome your input. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone has an opportunity to address the commission if they so choose. And with that, Madam Clerk, will you please call the first item?
The approval of April 3rd, 2023 draft action summary.
Great. Any member of the commission wish to suggest any changes? If not, and if assuming there's no one in the audience that wants to comment, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Hassett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Kasirye. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Serna.
Aye.
Commissioner Hassett.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Kasirye.
Aye.
Commissioner Callejas.
Aye.
And Commissioner Wirtz. Sorry.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Next on our agenda is the public's opportunity to address the commission that is on an item that is not on our agenda. You are welcome to address the commission on anything that might be on your mind as it relates to the mission of the First Five Commission. I don't see anyone clamoring to get to the lectern, nor do I have anyone signed up to speak on off agenda. So, Madam Clerk, I'll assume no one is interested.
You are correct.
Okay, very good. Then please call our next item.
Next item, item number 3, Executive Director's Report.
Good afternoon, directors. Lovely to see. Oh, not directors. Well, sort of. Okay. Commissioners, good to see you this afternoon. I am excited to share a couple items from the Executive Director's Report and to thank those of you who attended some of our Family Resource Center visits over the last 3 months. We had at least one commissioner or an advisory committee member at all of the site visits, and some of you did multiple visits, so thank you so much. It was really great to see the FRCs truly in action and to meet their leadership and their line staff and the families that they serve. Just keeps it very real for us. If you weren't able to join an FRC visit, we do have an opportunity for the crisis nursery visits, which are coming up on June 23rd, both the North Nursery and the South Nursery. So I'll send out a reminder email about that, and if you're interested, just respond to me and we'll get you on the list. I want to say briefly about our evaluation dashboards are now available online on our First 5 Sacramento website. They have the 21-22 evaluation data, so you can take a peek at those interactive dashboards. They highlight the number of families served and the services they received, and also some of those outcomes. So it's just an interactive way to look at our data off of a piece of paper. For a racial equity update, staff completed a total of 3 ready retreats and have a final retreat planned for mid-July. We're in the process of negotiating the scope of work for our 23-24 internal ready activities, which will include monthly ready task force meetings, several all-team meetings, TA and coaching, development of our ready action plan, and we're going to start looking at some formative research for our participatory funding model that we're going to roll out as part of the new strategic plan, but we're going to start getting the work done on that early. So it's exciting stuff. Our advocacy day, we kicked off our advocacy day with a really inspirational interview featuring 2 of our very own parent leaders. They are advisory committee members and participants of our Parent Leadership Training Institute, Alexandria Page and Jennifer Mohammed. And I would like to take a moment to play the video for you today because I think it's really fabulous.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Alexandria Page. I have 1 child, and I got connected through First 5 when I was actually pregnant. I was looking for some resources around the community. I was new to the community, so I figured who are sponsoring people in this community? And then I seen a flyer that said First 5, and I was like, I'm going to drive to the corporate office because I know they know everything that's going on. I was a first-time parent. It was my first child that I was carrying, and I was like, what am I going to do with this kid? Like, I know nothing. So First 5 got me connected with some local resources, but First 5 was the pathway and the gateway for me to explore what other opportunities was to link up with other parents so that I can be a successful parent on the right path with a newborn baby. I got involved with the advisory board because First 5 was the first program that got me to get the resources that I needed to become a parent and resources for my child. And then I was like, these people matter in this community. These people are fundamental to the community. And I was like, if I am using these people and I feel so highly, many other people can feel the same way, but not know where to start. First 5 is where I started. And then I was like, I need to be an advocate for other parents and other children from ages 0 to 5. And this is important because I did it and I want others to do it too. First 5 can be the first 5 of commitment of who, where, what, and how. Because if First 5 doesn't have something, you better believe they're connected to someone who does. But I believe that it's a great start because there's so many unknown things. And when you actually have a child 0 to 5, you're really going to get everything you need. You're going to get the core things that you need. You're going to get the assessments that you need from your child. You're going to get the ACEs involved. You're going to get WIC involved. You're going to get every fundamental that any child 0 to 5 needs. So I'm advising everyone to give First 5 a try. Now my child is thriving from 5, and I'm still a part of it because it's a connection that you want to always keep. First 5 are the funders. So anything that I did with another program automatically came from First 5. And because I know First Five also has the power of funds. It's very important to be part of that, to be like, hey, this is a great, awesome program out here. Give First Five what they need because of this, and then use myself as an example of I am the why, how, and what. Hello, First Five.
My name is Jennifer Mohammed. I have 2 kids under 5. I got connected to First Five through my husband, and then he connected me to a family resource center. First Five program has helped me a lot and has given me a lot of opportunities, because I went from a parent getting diapers, getting parenting classes, to now being one of the advisory board members. First Five is special to me because I started learning my first steps of becoming a mother through First Five. First Five has been wonderful. A lot of friendships, a lot of experiences, a lot of opportunities.
I want to say thank you to First Five for everything that they've done for me. They have actually started me from getting involved in home visitations as a parent leader to becoming a corporate woman who can now advocate for other families of the community. So I have definitely went from what am I doing with my life to, oh my gosh, I did it with my life because of First Five.
So much fun.
Hey, Julie?
Yes.
So I noticed the branding for that didn't say First Five Sacramento. So is it a First Five California?
So it's
production?
Well, it was First Five Associations Legislative Advocacy Day. And so we provided the video that kicked off the meeting that day, which was from First Five Sacramento, but actually was as part of a larger statewide movement for the day.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that it turned out to be just a lovely day, and it was the perfect way to start our day talking with our legislators. Staff went on to participate in 5 legislative meetings, and leading the First Five SAC team were Commissioners Sneeringer, Evans, and Turner Johnson, and then we were joined by representatives from First Five California that day as well. We're going to switch on to the Stronger Starts campaign. There's a couple of pictures on your screen. So last Thursday, we participated in the statewide launch of the First Five California Stronger Starts campaign at the Sacramento Zoo. And it was great fun. We had a lot of commissioners in attendance, Commissioners Sneeringer, Wirtz, Evans, Gross, and Fernàndez y Garcìa. And both Aiyana and Rebecca brought their children, too, to participate in the day. We had advisory committee member Jennifer Mohammed and her family also attended. The Stronger Starts campaign aims to build public awareness about the impact of adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, and toxic stress response on families with children 0 to 5. And we have 2 PSAs very quickly that we would like to share with you. These are the PSAs that they launched at the meeting, or at the event last week, and really speaks directly to families and leads them to the First Five California website for Stronger Starts, which then has a toolkit, a really nice way for parents to figure out what they can do if they believe their child could use the services. Okay. Cue the video. A little bit off, but...
There's an issue affecting many children that I can't solve alone. It's called toxic stress. It's how a child's body responds to difficult experiences, from harsh language to a painful loss. It builds up inside, making it harder to fight off infections and illnesses, and increasing the risk for lasting health issues. But there are steps parents can take to help. Learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress at first5california.com.
And watch them outgrow, well, everything. But there's something else that can grow that we don't see. It's what doctors call toxic stress. It's how a child's body responds to difficult experiences, from harsh language to a painful loss. But there are steps parents can take to help. Learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress at first5california.com.
And that concludes my executive director's report.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Any commissioners wish to comment on the executive director's report? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, very good. Thanks again, Julie. We'll go on to the next item, please.
Item number 4, advisory committee update.
So yes, we met last month, and we, unfortunately, for the first time in the longest time, we didn't have a quorum, which was a little bit disappointing because we were going to approve our updated bylaws to increase our number of advisory members by 4 more members, so that we can invite more members of the community to join our group. So we regrouped. We have at least 4 members on standby who will be applying to be appointed to the advisory committee at your next meeting. So we're excited about that. And we are just hoping to grow grow that committee in a really good way. And we're meeting again this Friday, actually. So hopefully we will get a few things checked off. We're also going to have on Friday a presentation from our partners who created the children's report card. And so committee members will get to hear about the highlights from the children's report card.
Very good. Thank you. Any members of the commission wish to address this? Yes, Commissioner.
Julie, are the applications still open for those positions?
Yes.
And how would somebody access those? I am asking because I know we have many parent leaders in the room.
Absolutely. So, and we are looking for parents. So those are on our website. The reason why I'm holding off on the 4 right now is because Friday, I believe that assuming we have quorum, we're going to approve an updated application that really has a racial equity lens to it, is really centered in our work. We're approving new interview questions as well that are just more centered. And I think the whole process as part of this packet that we're doing is just going to be so much more in line with who we are now. And so that will be approved on Friday, and then the new information will be uploaded immediately so that parents can go on and fill those out and come and join us. We have a number of open seats already, but they were all for very specific things like a lactation educator or a parent with a child with special needs or something. So we wanted to have some at-large positions that folks could also join us through that. So those are the 4 new positions, but we have a number of positions open, so please do check that out. I'll say on Monday.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item?
No, we do not.
All right, next item, please.
Item number 5, evaluation committee update.
Thank you. The evaluation committee met on May 15th, and like Julie just mentioned, we had a similar quorum issue with the Brown Act requiring people to be in person to vote. And David Gordon and myself were in person, but Dr. Kasirye and Tony Smith and Robin were all on Zoom. And that didn't delay us at this meeting. Only our minutes, essentially, or draft action thing were delayed. But I do just want to point out that it would be great if the Zoom option was available for members that can't make it in other fashions. But I guess that's beyond certainly our local issue here.
It is an option, and I'm sure County Council's rep will jump in here if I get things wrong. However, I will tell you it is very involved because it requires noticing at your place of work or your place of residency, and it has to be noticed just as if it were noticed here 72 hours in advance. So that is why it's not often used outside of a global pandemic. So.
I appreciate the clarity on that. We didn't approve our minutes, but that's a minor thing. The staff provided updates for us on the Building Strong Families and the Refugee Family Support program, which again I will highlight doesn't include immigrants, which I think is unfortunate, and our proximity data system. And one point, I think, just because this is a public meeting, I would just mention that we have regular trainings, office hours and training for proximity, and we urge the providers to take advantage of those for training and interaction about any issues or problems around data. So just wanted to mention that. Applied survey research reported on our Tableau dashboards that are up, and on Birth and Beyond and sustainability and implementation reports. And I'll just mention that one of the issues ongoing with the Birth and Beyond and CPS revolves around how to make sure that we have clear criteria in referring families to Birth and Beyond, and making sure that there's a match between the needs level and the capability of Birth and Beyond to handle that, whereas some cases should probably stay with CPS. And so we're hoping that that dialogue continues to happen to truly address that. We've seen in the data that those who are sustained for 8 hours or more do very well. Those who are not able to be retained don't do as well in outcomes, and we think that might be because of the mismatch between services provided and the capability of the program to handle those kinds of families. So we're hoping that dialogue continues. And then the sustainability report was presented, and we had a great dialogue around this. First of all, the report was well received, and I think our committee had multiple constructive suggestions, and I always, David's not here, but David Gordon always has such thoughtful insights into this. And one of the things he was stressing, and I think we all were, is that we've had a lot of successes with the sustainability issues, but the work is not done. And we need to sustain those structures and maintain the coordination role in that regard. And I'll just mention fluoridation has been one of our long-term successes, 20 years or more. Well, that's coming to the end of the time period that we got a 20-year commitment from water agencies. So that's amazing, but the work needs to continue. The dental, we had some issues there. We looking at whether the well-spaced clinics are well positioned in our communities of highest need, and whether access is fully available there, and what the medical dental partnership is going to be able to handle on that regard. And with the hospitals, we've had great successes with baby-friendly and safe sleep. But we're also then, with our new priority around perinatal, higher rates of death in general that are going up in general for the community, but not just overall, but also for African American families as well. Perinatal deaths are high, and we need to work with the hospitals and the OBs to look at what can be done to improve that situation. The other interesting thing was around the tot lots. We asked to see where they were located, to see if in fact they were well distributed in the areas of highest need, and there's lots of data that suggests that money tends to go to communities that already have lots of resources, and their parks are updated and so on. I just heard on the news about the South Side Park that was closed down because it doesn't have money to update its facilities. And of course, it's in a lower income population area. So we've been looking at whether the tot lots are in the right places. And David, of course, said, there are elected boards of Parks and Rec that need to be engaged in those processes as well. So as I said, I went into a lot more detail this time, but I thought it was such a profound and productive meeting that I wanted to give you a sense of what goes on at those meetings. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions from other board members? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, let's move on to the next item, please.
Item number 6, Financial Planning Committee update.
Do we have a report?
We didn't meet.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, next item, please.
Item number 7, Systems Optimization and Sustainability Committee update.
I'll be reporting out for our SOS committee, which we had the meeting on April 18th in person at the First 5 Sacramento office, which was fantastic to finally be together in person. We had a brief policy update to start off with, and then we received an update from staff about participation in 3 capacity building ready retreats. The bulk of our meeting was spent on discussing exactly what Commissioner Wirtz was talking about, and that's the report on the sustainability efforts and the great pride that we take in everything that First 5 has been able to accomplish, and discussions similarly around how we're going to maintain those amazing gains. And this report will be presented in the August meeting. And then our next commission meeting will be on Tuesday, June 20th at noon, in person again.
Very good, thank you. Any questions on our SOS committee proceedings? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, anyone sign up to speak on this item?
No, we do not.
All right, next item, please.
Item number 8 is recognition of the 2023 Parent Leadership Training Institute cohort and presentation of their projects.
Great. Well, it's my honor to introduce to you Alejandra Labrado, who's going to lead this item for you today. And it's so appropriate that she does, because there would be no cohort to introduce without Alejandra's leadership to make it happen. She heard about this program, she researched it, she built enthusiasm for it among the community. She sought and was awarded funding, matching dollars from First 5, from HealthNet. She found partners in Lead for Tomorrow to make it happen. She created a civic engagement team to lead the development and implementation of the very first cohort. And she got all the trainers certified and then recruited the families. The participants to join. She did that all in under 6 months. Like, it was just boom. Because when she decides to do something, it happens. I just can't sing her praises enough, and am delighted to have her lead this item and kick it off for you today.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. In our commitment to uplifting community voice, we partnered with HealthNet and Lead for Tomorrow to bring the Parent Leadership Training Institute to Sacramento for the very first time. A team of 6 people, including myself and Commissioner Gross, who is also a former CCG group leader, another CCG group leader, and 2 staff from Lead for Tomorrow were certified in the PLTI curriculum. We started this by reaching out to the community to recruit a cohort that was going to be representative of Sacramento County. We got 80 applications of interest. We interviewed over 40 parents, and we narrowed it down to 21. Now, there were a few who had to cease their participation due to health reasons or to family schedules, but those who remained have been committed and are eager to put the skills that they've learned to work. As Julie said, we invited experts to be part of the civic design team, consisting of representatives from education, business, healthcare, nonprofits, among others. They've provided resources in retreat space, in connections, and in their expertise to be mentors for the cohort and guest speakers as well. The participants were engaged in sessions that focused on building relationships with each other and with their community, and in civic engagement. Hearing firsthand from guest speakers, including Commissioner Serna, on how government works. Not only did they learn the material, but they also practiced stretching outside of their comfort zone to listen and understand different points of view from others with different life experiences. Shortly, you will hear directly from some of the parents, but first we want to acknowledge some of the people who helped make this happen. I'll call their name and ask them to stand briefly as I introduce them. I'm not sure if somebody from HealthNet made it, but if they did, we would like to thank them. HealthNet for providing matching funds, and also the Mutual Assistance Network, if anyone is here from MAN. Unfortunately, they're not, because they have been an amazing partner to leverage childcare and space and assistance with transportation. Now, for the PLTI team, Commissioner Rebecca Gross. Greg Bourne with Lead for Tomorrow, who's not here today. Martha Lopez, the site coordinator. Evelyn Medina, Phase 1 facilitator. Rachel Hilbert, Phase 1 and 2 facilitator. And Samantha Sutherland, who is not here. Thank you. And for the parents that you're going to hear from shortly, and for those who couldn't make it today but will be graduating this Wednesday, we want to acknowledge their passion, their expertise, and their dedication. Despite their own personal adversities, they managed to show up every Wednesday evening for over 20 weeks for 3.5 hours of their day to learn from each other and to recognize that they are never just a parent. Please join me in welcoming our first PLTI parent, Sarah Cox.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Alejandra, for the introduction. My name is Sarah Cox. I'm a parent leader with the Southside Park Neighborhood Association. And I'm here to talk about my experience with the Parent Leadership Training Institute. I joined mostly out of curiosity, but the deciding factor was that childcare was offered, and I was really excited to be able to do something important without my kids interrupting me. And then PLTI started at the same time that I became the president of the board of my neighborhood association. And so while I would have otherwise been thrown blindly into this civic work, I had my facilitators and this curriculum to help guide me through understanding the need for equitable change in my community and what that change process looks like. They helped to teach me how to effectively engage the media about my project, how to read a budget, and a lot more. My project, which is to help Southside Pool, is well underway, and it's going to continue under its own momentum and with help and support from our city leaders. But the parents in my cohort are also working to meet the needs of children and families in our communities. We have made invaluable connections with government officials and civic leaders, and I have seen these women grow and flourish into their role as problem solvers. I cannot stress enough how effective this program has been to empower parents to make the change that they see needs to happen. And I wanted to ask you to please continue to fund this program and have a nice afternoon. And then next we'll be hearing from my associate, Crystal Harding.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Peace and love. Grateful to share space and time with you all. I'm Crystal Harding Jenkins, mother of 4, ages 6, 8, 13, and 19. Married for 13 years with my partner in parenting, Davon. I'm here representing Proud and Loud District 3, where Chair Desmond is my official representative. I live and pray in North Highlands, Foothill Farms area, 95842. Plus, I have the esteemed privilege to serve as an elected official, a director on the North Highlands Recreation Park Board, 95660. And this is interesting because we have 3 county supervisors who share this district, Supervisor Serna, Frost, and Desmond. And I am privileged to say, because of PLTI, I've had the opportunity to meet all 3. I joined PLTI because I read the email. Have you seen the flyer? It was an extensive list of topics and information that I knew would be beneficial for me. As a parent and a life learner, a leader and liaison, I was blown away by the breadth and depth of the content, the process, and super surprised that someone actually put together this mapped out strategy to crack the code. They were giving us the game, literally. And this knowledge is power. My community project will amplify the assets, our people, programs, parks, and progress. PLTI facilitated this process for me. 5 reasons. I was able to identify and define the problem, opportunities, solutions, as well as accountable evaluation and outcome measurements. Second, I gained education on how local, state, and federal systems work, including my own parks and recreation. The research, right? How do you research and review budgets and fiscal stewardship? How do I really align my values and principles with budget and funding? Fourth, understand and utilize the power of media and my voice. And most importantly, meet and grow with these dynamic parent leaders you see behind me, beside me. This is essential. This program has been influential in me as a person and as a parent. So it's essential that you continue to fund this opportunity so more folks can meet, greet, and share space with people like my fellow member, Ms. Callejas Jackson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Callejas Jackson, and I am a parent leader. I was scrolling through social media, and I happened to see the flyer, and the flyer spoke to my heart. I am a community activist, and I support the AB 1227, which says human trafficking education should be in every school in the state of California. I myself am a victim of that horrific crime. I started to do activism here in Sacramento, and because of the nature of the crime, I began to get afraid and sad. Coming to this program with parent leaders, I began to get stronger by the people that were encouraging me.
It's all right, you got this.
This program is more than just education. It's the support that you get as a community person to say, you don't have to be afraid. You can make a change. It's possible. And that's what this program gave to me. It gave me the opportunity to know that I'm not alone as a parent, and that I do have the power, and that I can be led by incredible people that also have the resources to help me. So I want to thank you personally for funding this program, because you will see me again fighting for human trafficking. A report was done in Sacramento by CASH, Community Sexual Harm in Sac State, that said 13,000 victims here in Sacramento, and 70% of them are Black and brown girls that look like me. So this is not the last time you're going to hear from me. With the support of PTLI, I'm going to be stronger and better and be able to help make a change in my community, alongside of my cohort with Venetia. Thank you.
Excuse me, trying to come back there. It's a little hard. Good afternoon. My name is Phoenicia Wash, and I'm a parent leader. As I began a journey to become a parent leader, I was homeless, and I was living in a shelter, residing in the Colonial Heights, South Sacramento area. I joined PLTI to build a networking system in Sacramento. I'm an implant of the Bay Area. So, as an implant, I didn't know anything. So I wanted to build a network system in Sacramento and learn how the city worked, far as the services and the resources that you guys had available to me. I'm a parent of 5. I have 3 that I care for now, and 2 of them are special needs. I myself have Crohn's, so I needed to figure out how to navigate you guys' system. Being a part of PLTI taught me how to navigate through Sacramento as both the city and the capital. Because again, this is not just the city of Sacramento, this is the capital of California. It also showed me how to develop and cultivate a sisterhood with women or parents of diverse backgrounds, but we all had a common goal. So we formed a coalition. It's us forming a coalition, something that we learned in PLTI, right? We didn't know we were forming that until we learned about it. The main reason for me choosing my community project are the PLTI experience as a whole, meeting the information received, meeting the beautiful women and parent leaders that we had. My life hardships, the disabilities, the homelessness, the everything. And then I have trust issues where I don't feel like I have nowhere to turn to. I can't trust anyone. I had a lot of things happen, so I had trust issues. So that led me to think of a space where parents could all parents, single parents, dual parents, co-parents, multiple parents, new generation, newfangled families. Everybody can receive insights, resources, and support from other parents that have lived experience. Things like workshops, activities, self-care events, and things, a place where we can share our unique lives. My community project is called Soul, which is sharing our unique lives. It's a Soul Parent Lounge. Thank you guys so much. And I would like to present my beautiful sister, Maria Elena.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Elena, and I am a parent leader from the unincorporated county of Sacramento in District 3. I applied to be a part of PLTI because, honestly, tuve la oportunidad de poner la aplicación en otro idioma que no era en inglés. I had the opportunity to submit the application in a language that was not English, and that spoke to me. When I just graduated from Sac State, class of 2023, with a degree in sociology. Thank you. So as I would leave work at the university, people were like, "You're going to another class?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to another class." I applied to be in the master's program for public policy and administration, and I really feel like PLTI gave me the opportunity to kind of get to know what that's going to be like. I have learned so much, as you've heard from the other parent leaders, from engaging political people who are elected officials, which I've done kind of at the school board level, but to learn how to do that at higher levels. One of the things that I really enjoyed was identifying who's in charge of what policy. As an advocate, you hear from your community and you get really passionate about something, but then you don't always go to the right place. And so PLTI provided me that opportunity. I, again, as a sociologist, you have to use that sociological imagination, and PLTI has really granted me the opportunity to get to know the needs of other people and how can I help support them. And because I've been able to build this sisterhood, I have been able to learn how to support others, even if I may not necessarily agree with them, right? My project is Families First, which is finding innovation, resilience through tenacity. And it focuses on families that are, in my opinion, disproportionately impacted, which would be minority families who end up in one of three institutions, either the military, the prison industrial complex, or in mental health situations looking for recovery or because they have mental health issues. And so what my project does is it works with those families in maintaining a family bond. That was another thing that PLTI allowed for me to do. I learned about family stress management while at Sac State. I learned how to apply family stress management and help families move through a very stressful situation of ambiguous loss, not knowing when that family member will be home, but to be able to maintain that connection and do so in a manner that is not harmful to the parent that is outside the home. And with that, I will introduce our awesome facilitator who did everything, even after having a baby, Marta.
Hello, everyone. As Maria Elena mentioned, I am part of PLTI. I'm the site coordinator. Was all the times behind the scenes. I didn't have the privilege to be the facilitator in front of the room, but I was always calling them, reminding them of the weekly sessions, because I strongly believe, especially with parents coming, having 4 children, sometimes we need reminders on a weekly basis to make change or to be advocates for our children. And I'm also the program manager for Lead for Tomorrow, which is one of the sponsoring agencies with PLTI. So on behalf of Lead for Tomorrow, I'm really thankful for First Five for having us as the sponsoring agency, and we look forward to working again and bringing more cohorts to Sacramento area, because I saw the big change that all of these wonderful parents have brought to Sacramento. So I just really thankful, and we look forward to also implementing FAMNet, which is the Family Advocacy and Mentoring Network, which is in the upcoming months, just to bring more opportunities to Sacramento and even California, to build opportunities for our parent leaders, for them to be advocates, not just for themselves, but also for children and for the community as a whole. And as well, just for our PLTI parents, I can't say nothing else but that I'm really thankful for them, for their support. I was 4 weeks away, and I really missed coming on a weekly session. I was like, can I go back? No, I need to stay with my baby. But I was just really thankful for all their support and motivation that they bring to me, because I strongly want to be an advocate, but sometimes we don't know the outlets, or we don't know how the government works. So it's just, we're also thank Supervisor Phil Serna for coming and speaking to our parents, because they were so inspired to learn more about the government and to be part of the government, and that they also have a voice to make a change. And I also want to introduce Rachel Hilbert. So she was a Phase 1 and Phase 2 facilitator, and I'll let her say something as well. Thank you so much.
I'm Rachel Hilbert. I'm a Phase 1 and Phase 2 facilitator for PLTI and a project coordinator for Lead for Tomorrow as well. And I just wanted to thank you all for this opportunity, because it has been a wonderful first PLTI in Sacramento. These women, as you can see, have grown so much, learned so much about civics, and also about their own empowerment. And their voices have grown, and I think they're going to be louder and louder. And it's been an awesome opportunity to be part of it, so thank you very much.
And both Alexandra Page and Jennifer Mohammed are also part of the cohort, and who you saw in the video, and they're in the audience as well.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does.
Well, I'll start. I suspect there'll be others that want to chime in here, but first of all, congratulations to all the parents who completed that 20-week regimen of learning about how to participate in your own government and not sit on the sidelines. I think that's, as I mentioned to you when I had the honor of joining you for an evening of back and forth discussion, it's really critical that you understand that there's nothing really sacred or special about anyone that sits up at a dais. We are only a function of you in terms of you electing us, and hopefully you running at some point to maybe seek the voters' confidence yourselves to represent a community. But it's a two-way street between those that lead at the elected level and have the honor of representing a constituency and the constituents themselves. We can't do it without your involvement. You can't, without us, I think, having the responsibility to do our fair share of outreach and making sure that you're well informed. I think that bodes well for both of us. And so, again, I was just very impressed, not just with the time that I had to spend with you that evening, what was it, about 6 weeks ago or so, but the fact that there was follow-up. I received emails afterwards about specific subjects and folks wanting to know how they could get some answers to questions they had about various issues affecting their neighborhoods and their local communities. So I could already tell since that meeting that there's a lot of practice now behind what you've learned. And as one of the speakers mentioned, I'm glad this won't be the last time that we see you, because I would expect that, again, that you would continue to participate at whatever level, whether it's special districts like the Parks District, Parks and Recreation, or school district, city council, the board, and here in Sacramento, even at the legislative level. So again, just want to stress my congratulations and my gratitude for everything that you've committed to do, not just for yourselves, but for our entire community. With that, Commissioner Hassett.
I loved hearing about all of your projects. I can tell you as a commissioner and also a leader in the nonprofit community, we don't do enough listening to what the community really wants. And I think it's really exciting. You guys noticed things that were broken and that needed fixing and needed shoring up, and now you're going to go out and do something about it. That's amazing, and it's very powerful, and it's not just a bunch of people sitting on a dais or in a boardroom thinking they know what the community needs. So I think that's really impressive. I'm also impressed that you made it 20 weeks in a row on a Wednesday night. I didn't make it through puppy training because I could not make it to PetSmart all 8 of the weeks. So I am always impressed when somebody can commit to something that's on top of an already busy and chaotic life and see it through. And you should be proud that you did that. And I'm proud as a commissioner here to have supported you in any small way and hope that this continues. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Callejas.
I just want to say wow, and thank you all for not just participating, but for coming here today to talk about the experience. The power in this room is palpable, and I'm so glad you all participated and really look forward to seeing you. You have the ability to change systems that impact children and families, so keep up that work, and I can just see you all also moving on to becoming mentors for future parent leadership classes. So thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Turner-Johnson.
Well, I just want to add my voice to say how uplifting and heartwarming and strengthening to me personally it is to listen to you. I've been involved in hopeful empowerment of parents for years, decades, actually. And I am so incredibly impressed at the strength, the intelligence, the dedication, and what clearly to me is going to go on for a very long time. You all know, even more, I think, than we do, or I do, the real work is done on the ground. We're here to help with infrastructure, money, and support, of course, but after many years, I can truly say with my work with parents, it's done on the ground, and you're doing it, and such a show of strength is remarkable, and I look forward to joining you Wednesday evening to celebrate.
Commissioner Callejas?
Sorry, I forgot one thing. I did want to point out the power of providing childcare to allow for participation. So just a comment.
Good point. So I have no one else in the queue, but since we have a designated photographer here, I thought it would be good for all of us to go down into the pit here and have all the parent leaders join us for a group photo.
Are you going in for the photo op?
Yeah. No money, no mission.
No, I think I'm going to exit. Incredibly. All right. Congratulations. Oh, wait, that's not going to work. I've got to go this way.
All the way to New York.
Just what I wanted.
You're dressed for it.
That's going on my Christmas card.
Smart. We're not done.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, I assume we have no one here to speak who hasn't already spoken?
I do not.
Okay, all right. Then we'll move on to the next item, please.
Okay, item number 9, approval of First 5 Sacramento 2024 to 2027 implementation plan.
Very good. I am in possession of 3 speaker cards, so if you do wish to address the commission, please complete a form and give it to our clerk. Thank you.
What you doing, ma'am?
Where's the little?
Oh, you need a clicker.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Good.
Good afternoon again. That was so amazing. And this is going to be pretty cool too. So as you all know, every 3 years we do a major overhaul of our strategic plan. And we really did a number on it this time. And for the first time ever, all commissioners were involved in that process, which I'm so thankful for, all of you for your contributions toward it. The strategic plan, which you approved in April, is that very high-level document that talks about the priorities and allocates funding to major priority buckets. But the implementation plan is the companion document that really goes into the detail of the strategic plan. And that's what you have before you today for your consideration. One thing different about this implementation plan that we did for the first time ever is convene 3 parent focus groups to provide input on the development of the plan, rather than sort of bringing something already created to community to say, what do you think about what we did? We went and talked to community about the best ways to implement those really high-level priorities. And they provided wonderful feedback to us, which you will see in several of the strategies before you today. Okay, so this should look very familiar. This is our strategic plan conceptual framework. You might remember the hierarchy from before and know that we changed that up this time. Our framework now centers children and families in the middle. It has our 5 priorities encircling the children and families, and then is surrounded again by our key functions, our core functions, which are to convene, invest, advocate, collaborate, and build capacity. So the implementation plan exists to provide the details to our strategic plan and the approved priorities within it. There is a page that will show the overall spending plan, the allocations by admin, evaluation, and program. And then there's a page that goes deeper into the total program expenditures by priority areas. Additionally, for each priority, there's going to be a summary sheet that includes indicators, strategies, primary populations, funding mechanisms, and the 3-year allocations. And we're going to dig into those one by one right now. Well, first, this is the overall page. So this is each of the 5 priorities, the total 3-year allocation, the percent of the allocation, and then you'll notice that it also includes, after the priorities, the staffing, program management, allocated costs, media, and program support. Those are all the additional pieces that allow us to actually do the work within those priority areas. The 3-year planned expenditures represent 89% of that funding, which is the $39.5 million you see there, is program. There's also 3% for evaluation and 8% for admin. And I'll just jump into the very first one, which is our racial equity strategies. You will see that we have 5 strategies outlined. Two of them, the internal first five work is one that is the same from what we have right now. It got a slight bump up, and it represents just 3% still of the total allocation. You'll see the largest allocation here is the Ready Plus CR funding pathway. So these are the new dollars that will go out to community to work with sort of non-traditional grassroots partners who are serving our BIPOC families. About 4% of funding will go to our external ready work, so we don't have this quite figured out yet, but we know that we're going to be ready to, while we continue to look inside, we need to help our partners on this journey too. So this would be work to help our funded agencies on their ready journey. And then we really need to do some work on our website. So that's our sort of communication plan and update on what we're doing to share out with the rest of the community. And finally, we would like to allocate 3% of the funding, or $142,000, to really do a deeper evaluation of our Ready Plus CR action plan activities and all the work that will take place under this strategy. As being new, we see it as we didn't have any additional money for evaluation in our strategic plan, and sometimes you have to evaluate these programs slightly differently and with a different lens. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had a way to do that. It's not a lot, but at least it's a start. And you can stop me at any one of these as we go along, too. The largest priority as far as dollars are concerned is the health and well-being strategies. Most of these are existing strategies that you've seen in our current strategic plan. There is one new strategy called Developmental Playgroups for Children with Exceptional Needs. This strategy came directly from our 3 focus groups, where we heard a lot about this as a desired service, a desired program, and we really weren't touching this in any other way. So we wanted to include that here. Some programs, you'll see some strategies rather, have increased slightly. Some have decreased slightly. Many are kept whole, and we do have the one new one. I'd say the place that took the largest hit would be family engagement and connections at schools. The strategies outlined in the plan are at 124% of their current, but there were things that were lost that are no longer going to be provided, funded in the new plan. And those are things like transitional kindergarten activities and early literacy programs, unfortunately, just again didn't come up as a priority area, and there are others funding work there. And Lindsay is here to talk about anything else if you have questions about what kind of didn't make it into the overall funded strategies. But we were able to keep one strategy under this that we thought is probably one of the most important, which is those developmental playgroups with children and bringing parents out of isolation, connecting parents to other parents to be with their child. And then we added another strategy under this larger one that is parent cafes, because again, hearing from parents through the through the focus groups, they were very interested in ways to get together, even without their children, especially without their children. You heard a little bit about that today, too, just to actually have conversations and be connected with other parents without their children present. So that this family engagement and connections at schools item, it gets us both of those strategies fall within it. Under the Family Resource Center work, which I know you all valued very much and came up very clearly at the retreats, 3 of the 4 strategies that we have in the current plan are being recommended for funding and are at 100%. There is one strategy that is not being recommended for funding, and that is parenting, the formal parenting classes with the court-mandated curriculum that takes place over the course of 20-plus weeks. And really the reason behind that is it's not the most upstream use of our money. Like First Five is such limited dollars and getting smaller every day, and we're really looking at primary prevention and reaching families and wrapping them with services before they enter the system, before their parents would need to take one of these classes in order to get their child back again. And so in that, just keeping that really upstream focus, this was the one thing that we dropped from it. We're in conversation with Commissioner Callejas and Kothari and our other social services leadership members about just looking for ways in order to see about funding for that in the future. We have a year to figure out what to do about that, but that is one strategy that is not included in here under the FRC strategies.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Yes.
Were you done with that section?
I'm done with that section, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Just a couple comments. With the developmental play groups, I think that's really good to see because we had heard that from our parents and so on. So I'm really pleased to see that that has some new funding. And just with regard to the court parenting programs, I'm just wondering if the court mandates it, is not the court or the county required to make that feasible? I mean, I'm worried about supplanting, I guess, is what I'm thinking there. And I, from the visits to the Family Resource Centers, I thought I was hearing that some of our parenting classes are being submitted for court approval. So I'm just a little curious about how that's going to work.
Yeah, I do think that that's a service that still needs to happen in community at the FRCs because parents definitely need those. And Commissioner Callejas, you might know more about this, but I think the courts can mandate a parent to take it, but the courts do not pay for it. They just say you must take a course. And then in 2009, when the county was going through really rough, like financial times, the commission came in and picked up every single thing that Birth and Beyond was doing and just carried it for the next, decade plus. And so now we just need to look back at our county partners and we need to say, who else can pick this up? Because it's just, if we look at what's the most important things for us to cover, that isn't it. Parenting classes are still able to happen under parent supports and connections at FRCs. So we know that that's how some parents begin, is they'll take a one-off class on discipline or potty training or something related, but not specifically where the majority of the parenting classes are for like 95% of those multi-session parenting classes, when we looked at the data, those were for court-mandated parents.
And just one other question. The funds there for the Family Resource Centers include the CalWORKs piece as well, right? Is that?
So this is the 3-year total just for First Five's investments. Okay. On top of that, they're assuming everything is fine with the state budget, there is $4.6 million on top of this per year, so more than $13 million over the course of this strategic plan period that would bolster what we're funding. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Kasirye.
I just want to clarify for the breastfeeding support, that is for WIC, is that correct?
So right now we have, yes, so we think that the WICs will, we have it as a competitive bid because sometimes the two WIC agencies have worked together, sometimes they compete separately, so we have it in there as competitive bid, but yes, it's yes.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I want to check again with County Council because WIC reports to Public Health, whether there's a conflict for me to vote on this item or not.
I would recommend that you not vote on this matter.
Okay. So in that case, then I'll have to recuse myself.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully you still have quorum, right?
With her out, yeah, we have Rebecca.
Rebecca, perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. K.
Commissioner Callejas.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm, we are obligated to pay, so the court can, mandate certain services, and these are critical, obviously, for our parents as they're trying to reunify with their children. The majority have some type of parenting classes, and we've always funded through our Birth and Beyond. So very concerned about this $3 million, and as Director Galelo indicated, we'll be trying to figure out how we can come up with that funding next year.
Commissioner Turner-Johnson.
Just a quick question about the early literacy piece. I know that it wasn't a prioritized call this time, but it concerns me a little. And I'm just wondering, do you feel that in the school districts that the attention to early literacy would be covered in this regard? Or what is your comment on that?
I might ask Lindsay to chime in. Outside of our current funded early literacy programs, are there other things that are happening at the districts?
Absolutely. I mean, early literacy is a focus of early childhood education, and that is expanding as we see transitional kindergarten coming online, and soon all 4-year-olds will be eligible for that. So
I just knew that our focus was probably on children, of these income levels and possibly ELL issues. And the question is, how well are the school districts doing that in general for all children? I guess that's where my mind would go with that.
Yeah, and that's an excellent question. Not all of the districts were engaged in early literacy, or in the current contract are not engaged in early literacy activities, and it's kind of a layer-on thing. There's mostly it's about giving away books to families and doing book lending programs that are really built in, and I don't think those will go away, where the children get a bag of books every week that they take home. That's a huge piece of the early literacy that we're supporting right now.
Thank you. Appreciate your response.
Commissioner Gross.
Kind of a related question, but do we know with the early literacy programs that we are not going to fund if we approve all of this, how much of those are geared at 4-year-olds as opposed to the 0 to 3 crowd? Because those 4-year-olds, I feel like, will be bundled into the TK stuff. But so if we already were funding those, it makes sense to cut it. But do we know what percentage is at the 4-year-old level?
Yeah, almost all of it is geared toward the preschool ages. Yeah, not the 0 to 3. So the families that are engaged in playgroups at the school districts, many of them also participate in those book lending programs, but there's no reason those would have to stop under the developmental playgroups that will be continuing.
So there's good, sorry, I'm pushing the wrong button. So there's good reason to believe that it is going to be caught by TK, which is very much an early literacy program all day, every day.
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yes, and I would add that as TK comes into being, the school districts are expanding the number of 3-year-olds that they're serving under the California State Preschool Program. So a lot more 3-year-olds are being served as well.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Yeah, just one further thing I forgot to mention around the developmental playgroups. There's a question I had about how this is being integrated with Alta Regional. In terms, I'm not sure what kinds of services they might have in this regard to provide this, but I assume we're coordinating with them around this?
We definitely will coordinate with them. We have this one open as a competitive bid process because we're not really sure who's doing these, who would step up to do this, who wants to partner with us and receive funding through us to do this. But yes, we would definitely coordinate with Alta Regional. Anything else you'd add, Lindsay?
I would add that I did a environmental scan, and the library used to do these and now only does them online. And Warmline used to do these, no longer does them. They don't appear to be available at all in the county of Sacramento right now.
But some good potential partners for the work if we fund it, so that's good.
Okay, so no one else for the time being is in the queue, so I don't know if you want to continue.
Good, good. All right, so then the 2 child care strategies that are currently funded would continue. The County Child Care Coalition at 100%, and the Child Care Quality Supports did receive an 84% of their current funding. So, parent partnerships. So lots of these are new, including a parent engagement coordinator, parent feedback and expertise section, organizational capacity to engage parent leaders, and those 3 coming in together, we're thinking of doing one single RFP for an agency that could sort of take on the leadership role with our work around developing parent leaders. The only other option we saw was to bring on an in-house person, and we want to keep it at the community level and not build our own team. So those are 3 new pieces that would go out to bid. We would ask that we continue the parent leadership development, which is both PLTI and our online at your own pace parent leadership program called PACE. Currently, we only have $100,000? No, yeah, $100,000 over all 3 years in our current strategic plan to do this work. So we're estimating it at about $135,000 a year to really run a PLTI. That is assuming we don't have any additional funding, which we really hope we will, and we could, figure that out, what to do with some matched dollars. But we just didn't want to not have it in the budget and start something and have to stop something if we didn't get a match somewhere. Our community stipends would stay the same at $10,000 per year, and a new item called language justice would be added, which would really help us to be able to meet with our community in multiple languages and ensure that we have multiple languages represented in our surveys, on our website, and all that other stuff. We really found this to be a need with our refugee family support and realized we had no money set aside to do this work. But it's critical if we're going to be serving refugees and other BIPOC communities in the new strategic plan. So just a little bit of money to go to that.
Excuse me, we have a few commissioners here in the queue. So we'll start with Commissioner Fernàndez y Garcìa.
Hi. So just a quick question about whether or not already goals are embedded in these new parent engagement interventions, and ensuring that people from certain groups who have no voice now have a voice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Was critically important for us in the PLTI work, which was all of where this sort of started. And that is the lens that we're looking through all of our parent engagement to make sure that we are as diverse as our community and that we have representation from all voices. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Thank you. A couple of questions. The stipends, $10,000 a year. Parents are busy people like the rest of us, and I just wonder, have you thought through, if we're expanding the parent leadership development by 3-fold or something, is that really a reasonable amount to think about being somewhat recognizing that that other people get paid for their time and so on?
Yes, great question. So these are the community stipends for parents who would be a part of our advisory committee and who would help us with focus groups and sort of one-off things. And I think that it's adequate at $10,000 a year for that. One of the reasons why parent leadership development, why the PLTI bucket got higher, is because we realized we need to have stipends for those parents too. So there's parent stipends going into a couple of different of these programs, but the ones that are just strictly for the commission and our work to bring that voice into us is under community stipends. The others have other stipend sort of line items in them.
Just to dovetail off of that, does the $382,000 for parent leadership development, does that actually include the cost for childcare?
It does.
Okay.
Yep. Childcare, transportation, parent stipends, and in this iteration, because we learned so much from this cohort about what they needed. One of the things that we also wanted to do was to have a small grant opportunity for them, maybe up to $500 or something, to help implement their project at the end, in whatever way, shape, or form that might look like. But we really help them create and come up with the idea for their project, but sometimes a little bit of funding to print your brochures or to get your website up or something like that could be really useful to the cohort as well. So that adds a tiny bit of money in there too for that.
On the subject of their projects, just occurred to me, are they legally bound to ensure their projects are relevant to the age cohort that defines our mission?
That's a good question. We had parents who didn't have a 0 to 5, and we had grandparents, and we kind of opened it broadly. Mm-hmm. PLTI isn't specific to 0 to 5 overall, or is it? This might be a really good commissioner. Yes, please do.
So we talked about this a lot in the cohort selection process, that we weighted the selection heavily to have a large group of parents with kids 0 to 5 invited to participate. But our original PLTI is not specific as a curriculum to families of kids 0 to 5. But in our original advertisement was very heavily weighted to connected partners with First Five, that they were getting the content through us.
My question had more to do specifically with their projects. So I think it's a question for county council more than anyone, because I assume the funds that would be used to help them with their projects, those are Prop $10, are they not?
So yes, in this first cohort, we had 50-50 matching that was not 0 to 5 money from our partner HealthNet, and so we are able to basically bring in anybody. Our goal is to be able to fund, co-fund it. So I think if we're using it with our money, it would have to be a 0 to 5 project.
Right. Okay, so the accounting was such that it was distinctly identified that HealthNet funds were being used for their projects.
So
just say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Chair Serna, yes.
All right. Commissioner Wirtz, were you finished?
Well, I do have another comment, but yours is more relevant.
We are not funding their projects at all for this cohort. Does that this would be separate?
This is something we saw a need for, was to potentially have some money set aside where they could apply for up to $500. But so for this, no.
All right.
But in the future, yes.
Okay, very good.
So then my comment more is we're rightly so investing a decent amount of money with the parent engagement coordinator and the feedback and organizational capacity over and above the parent leadership development, and so and that is tripling in size. So Am I right to think that the cohorts will be much larger, or there'll be more of them? And are we going to, I mean, this is hard work to get to engage and support parents into this kind of advocacy kind of roles. So I'm a little concerned in the evaluation sense that should we expect to see much larger numbers? Personally, I'm not concerned if it turns out that they advocate for other good things for children and families in Sacramento over and above, so we don't know what once we train these people and help support them move into an active role in the community, they can be their own voices at that point. But are we comfortable that, one, we can build up this capacity in this kind of time frame, and do we expect to triple or more our numbers?
I think we do. We, as Alejandra mentioned, we did start off with a higher number, and then through attrition, and again, things we learned about what works, what doesn't work, timing, everything. I think we ended with, I don't know how many, a dozen. But I think we would like to at least double that number just through that parent leadership development line item that you see just through PLTI. We'd love to have, dozens go through the PACE, the at your own pace thing. And then the ones above, and Alejandra can definitely speak to the parent feedback and expertise and the organizational capacity to engage parent leaders. These are we want to help other organizations harness their leaders too, parent leaders. We started that this last year we had stipends of $1,000 for agencies in the county who wanted to recruit parents and start a parent advisory committee at their own agency so that they could start to build their capacity to bring parent voice in. So that's one of the things under this that we would like to build upon. And I'm just trying to think if there's other things, and there's stipends built into that one, for parents to be able to receive stipends to participate in those advisory committees and other things.
Commissioner Fernàndez y Garcìa.
So after saying all that, it sounds like what we're doing is creating, a real civic capacity for the county, and in a lot of different ways. Is there money built into getting to what Commissioner Wirtz was saying, track our folks that we're, investing significant amount of money into, essentially, not to form a vanguard, if you will, of people who are activated, educated to make civic change?
Yeah.
I think we need to track that.
I think we do too. It's a great question. And we have our evaluation team, ASR, on board, and they'll be going through each of these strategies with us to help determine our indicator, or finalize our indicators, and look at what we're going to be tracking across these. We did not put in additional evaluation money here, but I think I will definitely circle back to them and let them know this is a priority for us, and what can we do with an existing budget to make sure that we are tracking what's happening with all of this parent and community capacity building.
Are there plans to keep this cohort together as a cohort through the years?
So this cohort becomes the mentors of the next cohort. Okay. So they're in. So we stay with them for, and Commissioner Gross, jump in at any time. We stay with them for, I think, the next year while they're actually implementing their projects, and then they do become the mentors for the next cohort.
I'm not sure how we in Sacramento are going to implement it, but it is a part of the PLTI curriculum that you keep the alumni engaged ongoing. So, for example, Erin asked for a list of our alumni now because when she needs people to go advocate for things, these are people that we can tap into. And so it is an ongoing conversation of how we're going to keep them engaged. But the alumni piece is an important part of the PLTI plan.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not sure in Sacramento outside of school participation, school board participation, having such an engaged group of parents involved in what we're doing as a county. So I think this is a huge opportunity to document the effects long term. I would recommend that we look into ensuring that we can do that.
We will make it happen.
Commissioner Wirtz.
I appreciate the comment. The plan, as I understand it right now, is that this implementation plan will come back to the evaluation committee in July. And our task is to look at those indicators and to suggest or work with those. So any suggestions that you might have about how we might do that would be helpful as well. I think in terms of I sort of take this as part of the basic, I mean, I may be wrong about this, so I'm not, but as part of the basic evaluation effort of the first 5 strategic plan. Some other things, the reducing African-American disparities and so on has other sources for doing evaluation, but this seems like this is core first 5 evaluation activities, and that's how I was going to approach it with our committee, I think. And however, you're right that it's not necessarily going to be easy to do that. A lot of that will be asking people to keep track of their own activities, in essence, and sharing it with us when they can.
This will definitely be new. It'll be a part of our core, but it'll be new work for us on the evaluation front. So I think you're spot on about bringing in the evaluation committee to help us figure this out is going to be key.
Please continue.
Okay. Systems improvement. So the last of our 5 priorities is systems improvement. Many of these are new and are ideas that have just been percolating as we've engaged in our systems work, and as we have, these were very fresh because we just did the sort of historic look back at our systems work and saw and had that conversation about and what still needs to be done, and even within the ones that we have sort of in our minds had closed out, and so you'll see some of that presenting itself. So health and hospital systems capacity building. This is just a small amount of money. We're thinking basically related to the birthing justice certification program. Yes, funding. This would be working with the health and hospital systems around becoming birthing friendly hospitals. A health systems liaison. This would be someone that would be sort of a consultant to us. We see a lot of opportunity to work with the managed care plans in the future under CalAIM, and especially with the community health worker benefit as a potential funding source for home visiting, using that position as home visiting position and trying to leverage those dollars. The managed care plans all have to sign an MOU with First Fives in their counties, so this is like a great opportunity to figure out how to get what we need from the health plans into those MOUs. So this is a part-time position over 3 years as a consultant to really be the link, and this position will come up in other ways too throughout these strategies. Promotion of well mom and well baby services. This is kind of leading in from the challenge that we're still having around African American perinatal deaths and maternal deaths, and just building on a small coalition or group that could help us with this work over the 3-year period. The health systems liaison would be a part of that group and sort of lead that group with the health plans, who would all have to be a part of it. We have some oral health systems improvements. It's been a while since we have invested in our systems improvement work around building out the dental clinics or the fluoridation work, but there's lots of things that still need to happen around medical dental partnerships. Having the medical side be talking to the dental side and vice versa, and making referrals. And there are kindergarten oral health assessments that are supposed to be done for all children before they enter kindergarten, and we've had some struggles with that. So I see some systems improvement things that could happen under this funding. Community workforce pipeline. We're just looking at how do we help build the next workforce. We know we need more African American doulas and midwives and health and well-being providers that are reflective of their communities. And so this would allow us to do a small scholarship program to maybe pay for some of those certifications to help bring on board people of color to serve in these areas. Black Child Legacy Campaign, this is the steering committee work, so this is one that would just remain, and it would remain at 100% of funding. SAC Family Connect, so we had our home visiting coordinating committee, and we merged it with our quarterly contractors meeting. We call it SAC Family Connect, and it really connects all of the providers who serve children and families in the county. We gather quarterly, and we're building out a whole website and a sort of find care where you are element to it. So this would support us in training providers, launching the website, and having families have a way to self-refer into programs and services. Child Safety Forward, the Prevention Cabinet. This would allow us to co-fund at least annual town halls where our Prevention Cabinet members could meet with community around issues specifically related to preventing child abuse in our county. We have a really strong, I think you heard last time from Stephanie Biegler, all of the cross-systems work that's going on. And Child Safety Forward is leading that work in the county, and this is our way to support that huge systems change that's happening. And then public will and advocacy, just a small amount of funding there. Again, just to be able to have our website, have a campaign if necessary, something that brings out why folks should continue to invest in 0 to 5, especially as our money is declining. We just really need to get the word out there about that and the need to continue funding for children's direct services. So those are the systems improvement strategies. I'm happy to answer any questions.
As if you haven't had enough, right?
Oh, give me more, please.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions for our Executive Director? Commissioner Wirtz.
Thanks. I'll make it short. I think this is a great set of investments for the systemic approach to solving these problems that we can't solve through services alone. So that I'm really, and co-funding the town halls, for example, under the Child Safety Forward is a great thought about how when we go to the community, we go together as an organized group rather than have CPS go out and ask people, First Five ask people, and other. So I think this is a good sign of trying to reach the community. Having been involved in many community projects before where you're asked 20 times by 20 different groups what's going on. And so I think it's a respect to the communities to do that. And I'm pleased to see, I appreciated your clarification, Julie, on both the health systems liaison and the promotion of well mom and well baby services to be able to look into the perinatal high rates of perinatal death that we have. And so I'm looking forward to that and seeing if we can engage OB-GYNs as well as the health systems themselves. So
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other comments from commissioners or questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to public comments. And now I have 4 speaker slips, so we will begin with Lisa Matthews.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Matthews, and I'm the Breastfeeding Program Coordinator with the Sacramento County WIC program. First and foremost, I want to thank the Commission for investing in the breastfeeding support and advanced level lactation care that our community needs. Your funding is bringing health equity to families who are not able to access services through the Affordable Care Act. As a result, your funding has enabled thousands of low-income families to access high-quality lactation care that is needed to continue their breastfeeding support journey. Over the last couple of years, there has been a lot of buzz around CalAIM initiative, and this initiative has begun to reform Medi-Cal to address certain health disparities. While there have been some improvements to CalAIM with the addition of the doula benefit and community health workers, unfortunately, lactation consultants are not one of the covered benefits and therefore are not able to be reimbursed through these programs. Community programs such as WIC continue to rely on grant funding to reimburse for lactation services. A small amount of progress has been made in partnering with local health plans to cover some of these costs. However, this funding is very limited and is not guaranteed. In addition, the funding that we receive from the health plans does not meet the full amount required to maintain our current level of service. I urge the Commission to prioritize maintaining the current level of funding for breastfeeding support in the implementation of the next strategic plan. Your legacy is wide and deep, for it not only impacts the families receiving services, but also the families that are in contact with the families receiving services, because we know that these families are encouraging other new parents to breastfeed. I thank you for your thoughtful consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Samantha Slaughter.
Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Slaughter, and I'm a lactation consultant and the breastfeeding program supervisor with the CRP WIC program. And I want to thank you, the first 5 commissioners and everyone here, for your time and attention today. I have the privilege of working closely with our WIC and first 5 funded staff, as well as our diverse WIC population of pregnant and new parents, infants, and young children. Currently, CRP WIC is a subcontractor to Sacramento County WIC, and together we provide the Community Lactation Assistance Program, which provides advanced level lactation care and breastfeeding support to families in need throughout our county. These critical lactation services have become a vital component to our WIC program, as WIC only provides basic breastfeeding support and promotion. By integrating the lactation consultants into WIC, they have been able to work closely with our WIC team of lactation educators and breastfeeding peer counselors to further the support provided at WIC. California WIC, fortunately, is a leader in the state in prioritizing breastfeeding as a critical tool in addressing health disparities and ensuring the youngest Californians have a healthy start. As such, WIC staff are provided with ongoing breastfeeding training and can educate and encourage pregnant and new parents to breastfeed. However, they're not capable of providing advanced level lactation support and rely heavily on the first 5 funded lactation consultants to pick up where their encouragement and coaching leaves off. The WIC breastfeeding peer counselors are a diverse group of peer supporters that reflect the diverse population in the area. Our peer counselors include African American peer counselors, Syrian refugee, and Hispanic individuals. Their work is critical in helping pregnant individuals choose and continue to breastfeed. They often develop meaningful and influential relationships with their clients, so when a client is experiencing breastfeeding challenges, they can quickly refer them to more advanced support within our Community Lactation Assistance Program. In addition to our internal referrals from WIC peer counselors and staff, our program is often contacted by other community organizations such as Birth and Beyond and Black Mothers United, and they rely on our program to provide advanced level lactation support for their clients. Without this service, peer supporters such as these and WIC peer counselors would not have a place to refer clients for help with more complex lactation challenges, since the service is not available elsewhere in the area. This would result in fewer opportunities for communities already experiencing disparities in breastfeeding initiation and duration, as well as infant and maternal mortality, all of which can be helped by improving access to advanced level lactation support. I encourage the First Five Commission to continue funding advanced level lactation support in Sacramento at its current funding level. This funding supports a vital and much needed service that addresses disparities and impacts lifelong maternal and infant health. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. All right, Lauren Bayer or Bauer?
Thank you, First Five Commissioners, for taking the time to hear our voice. My name is Lauren Bauer, and I'm the lactation coordinator at Mercy San Juan Medical Center. Our lactation team has had a long-standing relationship with lactation programs at WIC. The majority of our patients have Medi-Cal and are WIC participants. Since Mercy San Juan does not offer a lactation clinic, our patients strongly rely on the First Five funded lactation services at WIC to receive the critical lactation support needed to address their ongoing breastfeeding concerns and goals. Inpatient lactation support at Mercy San Juan Medical Center is a very small portion of a mother's breastfeeding journey. Most lactation concerns occur after discharge, where we at the hospital rely on programs like Community Lactation Assistance Program at WIC to fill in the gap by providing advanced level lactation support for these mothers, as we are not able to. Most mothers intend to breastfeed, but a mother cannot possibly learn everything she needs to be successful with breastfeeding in the 24 to 72 hours she's in the hospital. Breastfeeding a newborn takes time, practice, and hands-on support. This is when the First Five funded lactation services assist with ongoing breastfeeding support through the early notification system, lactation consultations, and the breastfeeding helpline, which are all desperately needed. The early notification system provides a follow-up phone call within the first week postpartum to mothers who have just given birth, who plan on breastfeeding or are breastfeeding. This is a vulnerable time and one when a dyad can experience a variety of challenges that can influence their ability to continue breastfeeding. The early notification system allows for lactation consultants and breastfeeding educators to follow up with mothers during this critical time, offer support and coaching as needed, as well as triage to more advanced in-person clinical support when that need is identified. This allows for assistance with positioning and latch, breast assessment, infant oral assessment, effective milk transfer, and much more. Besides providing follow-up calls and hands-on support, the Community Lactation Assistance Program also offers a breastfeeding helpline that is managed 365 days a year. This helpline is extremely important in order to answer general breastfeeding questions, provide coaching, and assess if a mother needs to schedule an outpatient appointment to receive hands-on support. Each of the First Five funded lactation services are essential in supporting mothers with a wide range of care in order to fit the mother's individual needs and meet their breastfeeding goals. Our ability to partner with WIC for ongoing advanced lactation care and support is instrumental in the breastfeeding success of our patients. Reducing or removing funding for this crucial service to our community would have a detrimental impact on breastfeeding rates in our county, since most mothers depend exclusively on WIC for their lactation support. I appreciate you taking what I have shared into consideration when determining funding opportunities in First Sacramento's implementation plan. I am open to any questions you may have regarding the severe need of this funding for our community.
Great,
Thank you.
I think we do have a question. Commissioner Wirtz?
Yes. One, I want to acknowledge that WIC and the lactation support systems that we had in Sacramento appear, according to our data, to show very successful program in Sacramento, higher than the California and national numbers. So one, I want to appreciate your efforts in that regard. And I understand that there is a cut in this proposed funding piece. So my question, I think both to you and others and potentially to Julie, is as I've been pushing, this is a systemic issue that hospitals, I feel, are responsible for providing the appropriate services for families to succeed. And so I guess I'm asking perhaps you directly about Mercy, and one, why they don't have a clinic, and two, whether there are ways that we can partner with your management, your board of directors, your doctors and nurses to see how to engage them better in this service for our community members. And second to Julie, then, is that part of our hospital liaison piece that we could continue to try to engage? I think we know that First Five's money is reducing, that our communities are going to depend on our partners in the community, whether they be business, private, or public, that we need their investment in our community and our families. And so I'm looking for leadership there as well as from First Five here. So one, that's why we look at the systemic approaches that we do. And two, I just urge us to consider how each hospital system can do its part in that, whether it be safe sleep, whether it be baby-friendly services for breastfeeding and so on. So I'll just open it up to see if you have any responses on both the sort of our private side and our public side here.
Well, so as of right now, actually, our hospital is reducing our lactation hours and our staffing, so we basically have lost 20 hours a week with lactation. So we don't have the staffing or the hours, the funding from our leadership, right, to actually even implement an outpatient clinic. And I know that Woodland Memorial just lost their lactation consultant, their only lactation consultant, and that is their outpatient clinic lactation consultant. So I think until we have our leadership side to really help us and basically fight for us and support this, I think right now, WIC is such an important player in this piece because we don't have that availability to be able to provide that ongoing support, and WIC is. And so, until we have our leadership on board with us and support breastfeeding, we don't have the hours and the funding to have that outpatient clinic.
All the more reason to really make sure that it is part of our systems improvement work. Like we had kind of in that last report checked it off as okay, hey, we did this. All of the health systems and hospitals are baby friendly now. Great, but we hear this and we know that there's still work that needs to continue on our systems level. And yes, that is included in our health systems work and with our liaison.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our last speaker on this item is Sheila Boxley.
Chairman Serna, commissioners, Julie, and your team, I just wanted to congratulate you. This has been quite a process, and I have been very impressed that every voice at every level has had a chance to be involved in this. We all know that the funding is going down. That's a reality. But I really do appreciate sincerely that some of the important infrastructure that we have in our county is still being funded. Maybe not at the full amount, but they are there. And I think that is really important because in the long term, it's critical that we keep infrastructure so that we can continue to do the services everywhere we need to in the county. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sheila. All right. Okay, so we've heard a presentation, a lot of good questions, and we've heard from members of the public who've addressed the commission on this subject. We do need to take a vote on this, so to entertain a motion at this point.
I'll move to accept.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Second.
A couple of seconds. We'll go with Commissioner Wirtz as the second. So roll call vote, please.
Chair Serna.
Aye.
Commissioner Hassett.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Aye.
Commissioner Gross.
Aye.
And Commissioner Callejas.
Aye.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And thanks again to Julie and our entire First Five team, as was mentioned by our last speaker. I think this really is a plan that we can all be proud of and a great complement to our strategic plan. So with that, Madam Clerk, our next item, please.
Item number 10, approve fiscal year 22-23 appropriations adjustment request to release reserves from the Children and Families First Trust in order to replace revenue losses resulting from the ban of the sale of flavored tobacco products.
And this one goes to Erik Harold.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commission. I just heard you give a fabulous introduction to Alejandra, so this one goes to Erik. So, anyways, this. Anyways, this one goes to. This is agenda item number 10, a $1.4 million appropriations adjustment request. Basically, an appropriation adjustment request is fixing your current year budget, because when we pass a budget, we're given certain authorities, and when we're going to either exceed those authorities or, in this case, have to replace revenue with reserve funding, we need to get authority from the Commission. Several factors have impacted Prop 10 this year. One is the return to normalcy from the impacts of COVID. Basically, it's what we observed is when people went to working from home, they had more opportunities to consume tobacco products and therefore buying more tobacco, which improved our revenues. As people are getting back to the workplace and they're restricted on their tobacco use to their break times and 20 feet away from the building and things like that, it makes sense that it's returning to its normal decline. Currently, we also have an increased inflation rate that we haven't seen in a long time, so we feel that this is impacting the average household's ability to buy any kind of, or to buy as much tobacco products as they used to. And then finally, everyone's probably aware of the Prop 31 that was implemented in January of 2023. And we are seeing the impacts of that. So all in all, we're forecasting that there's going to be a $1.4 million shortfall in revenues. And so we're asking to adjust our appropriations to lower the revenues by $1.4 million and release a reserve release of $1.4 million to finance that gap. So we also committed to closely monitoring the Prop 10 to the Commission. We've been monitoring it closely, and this is the action that we're going to recommend after consulting with the County Executive's Office. So if any of that $1.4 million is not needed, it's going to convert into balance carry forward fund balance. And so we won't lose it. It'll just help finance the next fiscal year. And one more point I'd like to make is the likely long-term impact will be seen as a slightly higher decrease to the 2027 strategic plan period. So with that information, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Wirtz.
This 1.4 release from the reserve for this year, do we then expect that that's going to be the case for the next years as well?
No, in the financial 10-year financial plan, I've built in the revised revenue projections. So this is the impact year we're going to see. All of the following years have what the state says is going to be their projection for the Prop 10 revenue, and it looks like they're pretty accurate. Granted, we're only on 3 months of information so far of what's been collected.
So that those new projections after this year actually already assume some level of impact from Prop 31 and other things. Okay, thank you. So this is potentially, in terms of our budgeting, it's a semi-one-time, as best we know for the moment, but a one-time correction.
Yeah, that's the way we're looking at it. We thought about that. I did put the state's revised projections using the Prop 31 impacts. And so that's already in the 10-year plan. It was this year we couldn't just change on the 10-year plan. So this is what this action's designed to do to fix this for the current year.
And did this go to the Finance Committee?
Yeah.
Or is it too new?
Well, it's been discussed in concept. This actual AAR has been had to be done. We haven't had a meeting since the finance. But it's been discussed in concept as this would be.
We did discuss it in the last meeting.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to make sure.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone from the public signed up to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments by commissioners? If not, entertain a motion. Chair will move. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kasirye. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Serna.
Aye.
Commissioner Hassett. Aye. Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Aye.
Commissioner Kasirye.
Aye.
Commissioner Callejas.
Aye.
And Commissioner Wirtz.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Very good. Next item, please.
Okay, next item, item number 11. Authorize the executive director to amend revenue agreements with the Department of Human Assistance and expenditure agreement with the Child Abuse Prevention Center, increasing each agreement by $236,000 for CalWORKs home visitation services.
This one also goes to Erik, but it's a slightly better.
I think I'm going to start us off, and
perfect.
then
Okay, great.
Erik can chime in.
Yeah, I'll jump in if you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm Chris Clinton, and I'm a program planner for the CalWORKs contract. Super happy to be here with you today, and I have 2 items for approval. So to start off, yes, staff is requesting approval to execute the First Amendment to increase the revenue agreement with DHA by $236,000, and to execute an amendment to increase the expenditure agreement with CAPC by $236,000 for this fiscal year. Now, back in fiscal year 21-22, CAPC submitted a June estimated invoice, and it came in pretty low at $336,000. But when we received the actual cost for June, it was $562,000, which left us with about $226,000 to be reconciled for fiscal year 22-23. So this amount was deducted from CAPC's current year allocation at $4.45 million. And DHA, though, has agreed to use $236,000 of their surplus funding to replenish the lost allocations occurring during the June true-up. So this amendment will allow for CAPC's budget to remain intact after applying the cost true-up.
All right, very good.
Can I answer any questions?
Well, you've presented the staff report, if I'm not mistaken, combining items 11 and 12.
Oh.
It sounded like, because you did.
Nope. There are 2 separate items,
I
and this is
understand.
just the $236,000 item. But there is another item.
Right, but there was reference, I thought, to the balance.
Yes. There's reference to it, and one of them is for the current year, and then item number 12 is so that we can do it all over again next fiscal year.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right, very good. So, all right, so we're obviously we're going to treat these separately then. So, any questions for staff? Madam Clerk, do we have anyone sign up to speak on this matter?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, in that case, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Callejas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kasirye. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Serna.
Aye.
Commissioner Hassett.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernàndez Garcìa.
Aye.
Commissioner Kasirye.
Aye.
Commissioner Callejas.
Aye.
Commissioner Wirtz.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Very good. Next item, please.
Item number 12. Authorize the executive director to enter into a revenue agreement with Sacramento County Department of Human Assistance up to the amount of $4,688,443 for the CalWORKs home visitation program, and to execute an expenditure agreement up to the amount of $4,448,443 with the Child Abuse Prevention Council of Sacramento Incorporated to provide direct services for the period of July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024.
Well, Stephanie, you pretty much just covered it all. But Yes, staff. So as you may know, the current CalWORKs contract will end as of June 30th. So staff is coming to you today requesting the same contracting authorities as last year. Staff is seeking approval to enter into a revenue agreement with DHA for up to $4.7 million for the CalWORKs home visiting program, and to execute an expenditure agreement up to $4.45 with CAPC for direct program implementation, and of which $240,000 will remain with First Five for contract oversight.
Great, very good. Thank you. Commissioner Wirtz.
Yeah. The Evaluation Committee has seen at times some question about the ability of DHA to refer cases to Birth and Beyond. So I guess my question, are we comfortable that DHA is fully on board with participating in the ascertainment and referral of cases to Birth and Beyond at the level that we expect them to have?
I have some good news for you, Commissioner Wirtz. Over this last year, DHA's referrals have gone up considerably, and they are fully on board with providing referrals to our program. We have also begun training again with the eligibility staff to remind them that we have this great program. So it's moving in the right direction for sure.
All right, any other questions for staff? All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any?
If I could just follow up, do we have any, I mean, given that this is the full cycle of this, do we have any way to be looking at sort of immediate accountability over time rather than wait until I find it in the budget, in the data 5 years later or something?
Sure. So yeah, we're working on this in our social services leadership team, where myself and Commissioner Callejas and Ethan Dye and several of the other department heads, we look at all of the ways in which we're collaborating, how we could collaborate more, what's working, what isn't working, and this is one of the things that's on our agenda. So we are talking about it at our level and hoping to, and I think it has been working. Commissioner Callejas and I have a bet about who Ethan hates to see the most. Which one of us does he run from quicker when we walk through the door? It's probably a tie, but yes. So we are working on it for sure.
Julie, I really appreciate that. One, I appreciated hearing that the eligibility staff are, I mean, I think that's the on-the-ground piece, that they need to understand how their role is bigger than simply arranging for the money, but rather to help our community meet their family needs. So I appreciate that. And Julie, I appreciate to hear that it really is at the leadership level that this is being monitored. So I feel much more comfortable hearing that.
Commissioner Turner-Johnson.
Just one last thing on that note. Is there not some way that, I'm trying to pin it down, couldn't we get some quarterly assessment of the progress in this regard? It would be, as in all fairness to Commissioner Wirtz's comments, you know, it would be best not to hear about this a year from now, that it was just a 5% increase, and I'm making that up, of course. It's not meant to be judgmental.
We have monthly dashboards that are submitted to DHA and First Five that CAPC provides. So we do have data on which bureaus are performing better. Research is just really doing an amazing job providing referrals. So we do have numbers, yes.
Yeah, and you really...
And engagement numbers.
Maybe that could be transmitted, you know, on a quarterly or at least biannual basis so that we would be informed?
Sure.
Sure. We can include it in evaluation committee updates.
That'd be great.
Yep,
thanks.
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
No, sir, we do not.
All right. And then if there are no further questions or comments by commissioners, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Wirtz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Callejas. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Chair Serna.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Hassett.
Aye.
Commissioner Fernàndez y Garcìa.
Aye.
Commissioner Kasirye.
Aye.
Commissioner Callejas?
Aye.
Commissioner Wirtz?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so for the next two items, I'm a little confused. I have the note that we are not voting on this, but it's a public hearing.
Correct.
It's a little odd.
Okay, so
Is it officially noticed as public hearing or something?
for item number 14, I know we definitely don't vote. We just, in statute, have to open a public hearing and listen to any comments that the community might have about First Five California's annual report.
Okay.
And then we send those comments to them.
Gotcha. All right.
For item number 13, I did think that this was a vote, but, and this was, we have to do the annual review, and we're not recommending any changes. So maybe it would be a vote if we had to change anything, but.
It's just that in my 13 years on the board, I've never seen a public hearing item notice as such without a vote, that's all.
I'll research that one. Maybe we should do a vote today just to make sure, and then, but I know for that.
But I don't know what the motion would be.
I don't know.
So.
14 does not require that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so Madam Clerk, why don't you read the first item into the record?
Item number 13, public hearing, annual review of First Five Sacramento 2021 to 2024 strategic plan.
Hey, Carmen.
Carmen will take this one.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Carmen García Gomez, and I will be leading this item. Today, we are here to ask that we do a public hearing for the annual review of the First Five Sacramento 21-24 strategic plan, and that we continue the implementation of the First Five Sacramento 21-24 strategic plan with no recommended changes. We are in the second year of the strategic plan. If you recall, the Commission approved the strategic plan, the current strategic plan, on May 4th, 2020. The expenditures for the 3-year strategic plan period total $44.6 million, which include program, administrative, and evaluation costs. And with that, our conclusion is that no changes to the 21-24 strategic plan are recommended at this time, and the public hearing will satisfy the requirements of the various statutes of the Children and Families Act of 1998.
Very good. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public signed up to speak on this matter?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, and with that, I will close the public hearing. And there's no indicated action that the Commission has to take other than to acknowledge, I guess, generally that we've reviewed the First Five Sacramento 2021-2024 strategic plan. So why don't you go ahead and read the next item?
Okay. Item number 14, public hearing, review, and comment on First Five California annual report for fiscal year 22-23.
Today, I want to share the First Five California fiscal year 21-22 annual report. You should have an attachment that accompanies the Commission letter. Every year, we submit fiscal audit and annual reports to First Five California, and we also perform annual audits and submit annual reports. If you recall, I came to you in October of last year and did a presentation of our data that was going to be forwarded to First Five California, and so this report is a compilation of all 58 county data. The annual report, attachment 1, covers the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and provides a comprehensive overview of the state's programs and services. I wanted to highlight this particular year something different that First Five California did. In the first section of their report, they highlighted their new initiatives, 2 of which First Five Sacramento became recipients of funding. We received funding to support refugee families with young children as they transition from their home countries to Sacramento County. And we also received funding for the home visiting coordination project that were supported through these new and ongoing investments. First Five California's policy agenda focuses on 4 categories, just like ours. Very similar: resilient families and communities, child health, early learning, and revenue. Specific advocacy efforts can be found on page 7 of the attachment 1. First Five California also focuses on 4 program result areas, which include improved family functioning, improved child development, improved child health, and improved systems of care. According to the annual report, First Five California received $77.3 million last fiscal year, which was a 5% decrease. Further, in the commission letter, you can see that the total expenditures of the 3 primary result areas were $277 million, which includes the child development, child health, and family functioning. And there you have data that demonstrates a number of services that were provided. In addition, they engage in a range of activities focused on improving systems of care, and the expenditures in that area totaled $93 million. That totals, the 4 result areas combined totaled an expenditure of $370 million. The highlights of program and services, which we also submitted information, begin on page 25, and you can find First Five Sacramento's highlights on page 33. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Carmen. Commissioner Wirtz.
I just want to note that we've talked about the funding amounts going down. When we first started this, and Carmen, you may or may not have this at the top of your list or anything, but my recollection is the total amount of funds for First Five California was in the range of $600 million. And we're at 383 or something now. So I just wanted to highlight that we are taking the impact of this money going down. And just a comment to Erik that we're glad that people are stopping smoking and in and around for their own health and for their children's health, however impactful it is in our ability to provide other sources for them. And then I was just going to ask Carmen that we highlighted our racial equity piece in our page 33. Is that right?
Yes. We did.
Yeah. And I think that was a good choice to do that as well. So just wanted to mention those things.
All right. Any other commissioners have questions for staff? All right, seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
No, Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. I will close the public hearing. And again, there is no specific action before the commission on this item. And we express our gratitude for Carmen for 2 excellent staff reports. And by the way, do you want to introduce your special guest?
Sure. This afternoon we have my daughter, Alexa Gomez.
Hey, Alexa.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Okay, our last item is the Commission's opportunity to provide comments. All right, seeing none, I want to thank staff for all their hard work as usual. Good meeting, and we are adjourned.
Thank you all.